Yeah. Listen, we back in the game, but I'm not happy. The game is cold. The game is cold. I'm not happy right now. I had to. For everybody who knows, I talk about three things here. We talk about world travel. Dear sister Kenna, she and I have covered I don't know how many continents and passports together. I love to talk about social events and social issues, but my favorite subject is money because I love money. I genuinely love money. Money is a great slave to have. When you figure out how money works, the game just changes. This covers two different things for me, and it's rare that two rivers cross. This covers social issues and money because it cuts deep. Because this is not what. Hold on, tell your story, Kenna. Tell them about. Now you don't have just say a relative. Let's not get specific. We're not here to slander anybody. We're not here to bash anybody. Right? Anybody in the comments, I want you to know we're not here to call anybody names for any mistakes they have made, but I want you to stay with me on this. Kenna, tell them your story.
Well, you saw my Facebook page where I talked about this new thing that has been going around where you put in $100, you get $800, or you put in $500 and you get $4,000 back. And one of my relatives sent that information to me, and I was offended because I know these things to be Ponzi schemes, they're scams. They're illegal. You could go to jail for this in certain states. So I was really surprised to see this pop up in my inbox from a relative.
So let's do this. Give me those numbers again.
One of them you put in $100 and you get $800 back, and the other one you put in $500 and you get $4,000 back, supposedly.
Okay. So that sounds like, well, let's do this. Hold on. Let's show everybody the Dow Jones. We're not going to have an economics lesson here. We're not going to have a lesson. If you know, if you guys want to talk about this later, we can. All right. This is the 100-year historical chart for the Dow Jones. I am clicking on 30 years. The Dow Jones doesn't even perform as well as what they're promising. The Dow Jones doesn't even perform as well as these people are promising you. That's terrifying. Again, if you don't know, you don't know. Right? If you don't know, you don't know.
Mm-hmm. They promise you what, 8 times what you're putting in?
Return. 8 times return. How does that? But let me tell you what I see. I see, and thank you, BK, for making sure everybody likes, shares, and subscribes. Most of the conversations we have are a lot more fun than this, but I need to protect some people. For those who don't know, and feel free to Google my name. I spent 9 years as a financial professional. I dealt with investments, mutual funds. I dealt with cash-bearing life insurance. I made a lot of people no, I take that back. The main thing I got paid for is I help people put money away in ways that they didn't have to pay taxes on later and save people a lot of money, which in turn makes them a lot of money. It allowed me to semi-retire when I was 37. But here's the game. Right now, there are a lot of people hurting. The world is in an economic upheaval, the likes we've not seen in our lifetime, right? We've never seen this.
Right.
The reality of our situation is as such. There are people all over the world and in our own families who are more than happy to take advantage of us. More than happy to say, hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and give you this. Hold on. What are some of the names that it goes by? They call it a Susu, which, if I'm not mistaken, has its roots in certain Southeast Asian, and African traditions. They call it pyramid schemes. They call it a blessing loom. That's one. There's one that's called a
blessing for blessing.
A what?
Blessing for blessing.
blessing for blessing. It's all the same pig with different lipstick.
Mhm.
It's not a money-making machine. It's the same thing. See, the way a Ponzi scheme works. Kenna, are you familiar with the historical concept of Ponzi scheme?
No, I know what they are, but as far as the historical concept, no. But I am
Well,
familiar
tell
with
us what they are.
these concepts.
You might not have to go deep in the game on history. What is a Ponzi scheme?
From my definition of Ponzi scheme is something where it's a system that's set up to where you put in a certain amount of money and you're going to get back some type of return that is almost too good to be true. Like in this case, promising you 8 times the amount of return for a small investment. A small investment. So that's the way I see how it is, and they're illegal, of course.
Tamila said it's called a blessing flower. They pitched it to her. Thank you so much for popping in. If you haven't clicked share and subscribe, make sure you subscribe. The things aren't normally this depressing around here. Like Claire is tagging in some people. Let me show you guys the man that the game was named after. Okay, if you Google the name Charles Ponzi, right, and sometimes they actually have the word swindler next to his name. Charles Ponzi, Carlo, Charles Bianchi, born in Italy, came in the early as a swindler in North. He is the definition of a swindler. If you look up the word swindler in a dictionary, I'm not making this up. They put his picture there. Because you see that fancy hat, diamond stud and his tie, custom suit he's wearing. The way a Ponzi scheme works is like this. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the comment section in case anybody wants to do a little homework on that. Ponzi. Boom, boom. So here's the way a Ponzi scheme works. Let's say I know this guy. And we're going to say this guy is definitely not Edward Anderson. What's up, Edward? When are we going to collaborate and hang out together? But let's just say we got this friend. It's probably going to be a relative. That's what makes this so much more painful.
Right.
They're going to say, listen, I got this thing where you put in $100 this week or maybe this month. And then when it's your turn, people are going to give you, mind you, they're going to donate to you, they're going to bless you with a couple $1,000s. Now, to most people, I thought that would send up alarm bells, but I'll tell you why it doesn't, and it's not their fault. See, most people right now are missing meals. Most people right now don't know if they have a job coming. Most people right now are laid off. Most people right now have found their job being replaced. Most people are finding out that their job is happy to have them gone, take a 20% cut in profits, and still make a 40% return because I don't have any staff anymore. A lot of people are finding that out. And so when somebody extends that life raft to a drowning person, you know, somebody's in the ocean, they're drowning in debt. They don't know where their money's coming from. What are they going to end up doing? Oh, maybe I can take some money out of that. So here's what happens. And I'm going to tell you why Ponzi schemes work. By the way, BK from the Rockies always keep me on my toes. This is where I am on LinkedIn. For those of you who don't know what I do, I'm in Sao Paulo, Brazil. I've lived in a bunch of countries. I'm what would I call myself here? I have my green card here. I can't say it in Portuguese right now. My brain is in English. So what are you drag racing over there?
No, I had to turn it down because this street I live off of, sometimes the fancy cars like to do a little bit of drag racing.
Gotcha. Well, I do expert relocation services for people who want to move abroad, specifically Brazil, help them with their paperwork and such. And I'm going to give you a great way to vet me and anybody else, especially if there's somebody who's doing something that requires you to give them money. I have a company. People pay me to do everything from visa, residency, to all those other things. Don't let their history be a mystery. But let me show you how this ties into the Ponzi scheme. Right. First, I want you to go here and use this test for me, right? This is where people under their professional names say, I am who I say I am. They say this guy is legit. They say this guy is worth what we paid him. You can notice that they're all spaced out. They're all from different people, different areas, different countries. Let me tell you how a Ponzi scheme gets you, okay? Let me show you how a Ponzi scheme gets you. You're going to have another cousin, friend, dude you know from school. He says, I gave him $100. 4 or 5 weeks later, they hit me with 4,000. Now what is he doing? He's telling all his friends because he really thinks he won. No. See, a Ponzi scheme work because let's say I'm the king of the Ponzi scheme and I give 10 people the opportunity to give me $100 each. And then one lucky person gets $500 back. Where'd that money come from? Unless you're the federal government, you can't just fabricate money. But how much money did I make? I made $500. You know I'm going to make more than 500 because each one of the people there, the guy that won the money is going to go out and tell 100 of his friends. The people who saw him win the money are going to tell 1,000 of their friends. And that's how we get.
Well, you know how they're doing it now. Now to do these things, whereas a real Susu, obviously a real Susu is not set up like this. A real Susu, basically, you put in what you put in is what you receive. You have, I guess, a date where your payout is. If you put in $100 for 36 months, at the end of your time, you're getting $3,600, which is what you put in. What these new fangled things are doing, basically, you put in 100, getting $800 in, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it is. However, they're forcing you to bring people in. A real Susu does not force you to bring people in, where they're asking, oh, bring 2 people in and put my name on it. No, that's not how this works.
So now you're getting paid to recruit, right?
Yes.
You're getting paid to recruit. Now that's called a pyramid scheme. Okay, a pyramid scheme, and by the way, if I'm not mistaken, pyramid schemes are 100% illegal everywhere. Illegal. You recruit 2 people, and the returns are given to the early participants that are brought in by the later ones. So let's say we have a Ponzi scheme. This pyramid scheme. This pyramid scheme says, look, I got this thing. We're going to travel around the world selling Brazilian brushes. It's the new thing, right? Now, legitimate businessmen, they do things like, hey, good morning, reigning woman. Thanks for popping in. It's always good to see you. So, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, reigning woman is awesome. I want everybody to take a minute, and I tell everybody this with my friends who have their own YouTube channels. I want everybody to stop by, give her channel a shout out, and subscribe for a month. If you don't like it, you didn't lose anything, but I really enjoy the things that she says. She's a lot calmer than I am. But she's definitely worth it. I'm going to put her link right here in the comments so that everybody can check her out as well. So here's how it works. A legitimate businessman is going to say, okay, well, wait a minute. Why? You're selling these brushes. And if you buy these brushes for $5 each and we sell them for $10 each, that's how we make a profit. That's legit. But what they do is they say, wow, we're selling these brushes and we need more people to sell. And in order to sell these brushes, you're going to have to make an initial investment of $100. Don't worry, you're going to get your money back. So we want you to tell all your friends and all your friends that come in and give us $100 for these brushes that we're going to manufacture later. Well, they get to be part of the investment circle. And by the way, we kick you off a small percentage of what they used to join. So if 10 other people join and they all give me $100 and I give you 500, well, all you gave me was 100, so you made 4. Everybody's happy, right? Wrong, except it's totally illegal. Because there are no brushes. The brushes never existed. Magic. Yet and still, if you have enough people who are unemployed, hungry, waiting for a government check that may or may not be there, and I got to do a chat on how everybody's on welfare. I know people used to always talk about, oh, you're on government assistance, you're on welfare. Guess what? Unless you work for yourself, right now you're on welfare too. So let's start being mindful of what we say to each other. But right now, you got so many people that are hard down on their luck that their good senses go away.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
They stop thinking. I'd like to believe, maybe you can help me with this. This is where my heart splits. Ready? One part of me wants to believe that these people are simply so hard down on their luck that they're just not thinking and they're just foolish. But I don't know if that condescending. The other part of me says, no, these people are vultures and they know what they're doing. They knew what they were doing when they offered it to you, to me, to my friends.
I think most people know what it is. I mean, I looked at people that talked about it and people that have received funds from it. These are people that are working, they still have their jobs, you know, whether they're working full time or whatever. So perhaps it's a greed thing as well. So I gotta think that these people know what they're doing, but they're being willfully ignorant just because, although they know, you know.
I don't want to catch anybody trying to pass that off through any of my networks, because I'd like to believe, like, my ego, right? A man only has one enemy, that's his ego. My ego tells me my friends aren't like that. My ego tells me my friends are not stupid and they're also not malicious.
Mm-hmm. Well, one would believe that.
Huh?
One would believe that, but I look at the people, I've received these Looms invitations from people that are what I would consider to be highly intelligent people. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, how do you all not know that this is illegal? Is it the fact that people really want fast money? There's no such thing as fast money, you know, fast money. I mean, it doesn't even make sense and it's illegal. And people are bragging, oh, I received this. And I'm thinking, you're making this statement on a public site like Facebook. You've basically incriminated yourself because it's illegal.
It's totally illegal. It's a federal crime everywhere.
And I was reading in Texas, there's a $10,000 fine for this, and you can go to jail for 2 years. So there's that. I don't know what it is for other states, but in Texas, that's what the law states.
You know what's not a federal crime?
What's
that I'm
that?
glad to talk about? Doing business with Kenna Williams, traveling the world, making things happen.
Is that illegal?
Not illegal. Fiji, Panama, and for the record, Kenna doesn't give me anything to do this. I don't. The only person I've ever taken an advertisement from was my buddy who runs the Jamaican jerk chicken place here in São Paulo, Brazil, because he gave me some chicken, and I felt obligated to tell everybody how good it was. But I want everybody to check out Kenna's stuff. You know, I know she'll be one of the first people to really get it going after this quarantine things go over. Uncle Ladrunius. Who sounds like that Latin-speaking uncle, or maybe he's a legionnaire who survived through the ages. I'm just making shit up. What's up, brother? I'm glad to see you back. We're going to chat again soon, my friend. But it's one of those situations where I don't think that people realize they're being taken advantage of in a couple of different ways. Because how many people click forward without even thinking? You know how easy it is to get a headline going that just says, oh, we saw this, and Wateef was wearing a blue shirt with a red outline, which means he's part Democrat, part Republican, but he hates everybody because he has a skull on his shirt. It's a great headline. Now, this happens to me. I do hate everyone. Some of you may have seen some of my videos that I posted earlier. I make no bones about it. I hate Democrats. I hate Republicans. But I hate Democrats a little more, and I've gone into that while I'm going independent. I really I have a deep seated. I hate them all. I really hate them all. I mean that. I really mean that. But here's the thing. I wonder how many people are clicking share, not even knowing that they're spreading the poison.
You know, I don't know. I think from what I've seen, the top line says 100 to 800, 500 to 4,000. So people know. They're just. I don't think it's I don't think it's like that. Like the email that I received from the message I received from my cousin, it had a phone number attached to it. And that's another thing too. People are sending money in ways that you can never recover. You know, most people may do, you know, PayPal payments or go through some type of merchant account, whether it's Stripe or whatever your merchant account is. These are people sending just random Cash App money or whatever. So, or a Zelle payment or something like that. So these are not payments that you can get back. So a friend of mine had posted how to tell if it's a scam or some type of scheme or whatever is what is the product or service. If there's no product or service, it's a scam.
So my question is, what happens when people, I wonder what the social damage to this is. Oh, by the way, for people who don't know and who are curious about what I said earlier, I'm going to show you guys. I did something called Don't Vote Now, and why my friends are angry and why I hate everyone. So you should check that out. There's a link for it in the comment section. Don't Vote Now is the name. I wonder what happens when people's social networks start to unravel. What would have happened if your cousin sent you this link and you sent them $100 based on the fact that you just take your cousin's word for it, and then you found out you got had? That's going to be an awkward family reunion.
Well, there are, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a meme that's going around that says, it shows a picture of a man, says, this is the face that you make when you see your friend that you sent the $100 to, and then you didn't get the $800 and you're ready to fight. So I've heard that there have been some family divisions, also heard that there have been some fist fights or, you know, things of this nature, because people, you know, to me, $100 is like, okay, that's like nothing. But to some people, especially this particular time, you know, it could be a large money, especially if you're expecting to receive $800 and then you don't receive it. It's causing breakdowns. Friendships are being lost. Obviously, trust is being lost because, you know, I was never going to do this anyway. I'd rather take my chances in the stock market, you know, or buying stock, or I'd rather giving it away just because of the goodness of my heart, just to give it away, than to be expecting this. So it's just causing a lot of breakdowns and problems, and more from what I'm seeing. I heard one person was in some type of group, and I guess she caused so many problems that they kicked her out. So then there's that.
Well, I mean, but what's the problem? That's the question. Is the problem that she's offering you something stupid and you took it? Is the problem that she had a reputation? Is the problem that she made a lot of money on it? I don't know if I'd kick somebody out. If I saw somebody trying that hustle, before I took any action, I'd find out what action can be taken. I would actually want to say, I want to find out what I can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Kenna,
I don't know.
You know, hold on a second. Can you do me a favor?
Sure.
I need you to read this. I have a client calling me right now, so I've got to stop my camera. But
okay.
You're in charge while I'm gone, okay?
Okay, cool. Well, hi, it's Kenna taking over Yusef's channel for the time being. And we talked earlier today where I talked about how people were involved in these new scams now. But I would like to talk about something when Yusef hops back on the line. And that would be in regards to real Susus. And if you have been able to do one. I've never done one, but I've heard of people that have done one. I have a friend where they may put in $100 every month for 36 months. So at the 36-month mark, you are going to receive obviously $3,600. But these latest scams that are happening now, obviously that is not what's going on. I'll read one of the comments here from Charles Wade. Says, some require Bitcoin to join. He says he has a friend who was burned doing his flower. She invested $350 and only received $200. I have not heard about the Bitcoin flowers, nor about this particular amount. So I definitely have to get more information about that to see how that will go. So I should probably log into Yusef's Facebook page so I can actually see if there are any other comments that are being said while we're waiting for him to come back. But it's just
I'm
really
back.
wrong. Thank you. Back again.
All right. So I was listening to what you said, and yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Let me do this. Let's go through some of these comments. Roxana said, there are old-time traditions of Black Diaspora. My family and friends practice Susus. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I'm with her on this. Let me read that again just to make sure I didn't read it in the wrong way.
She's talking about a real Susu, not this this new process that's requiring people to bring in people and pay only a small amount and only receive 8 times what you're putting in. Like I mentioned earlier, before you, right after you left, I do have friends that are involved in what I would call a real sustainable Susu, where they're putting in money, and whatever you're putting in is exactly what you're getting. It's basically, I don't know if this is the right word, like a community bank, around a trusted group of friends or family that basically, 3 years down the road, your payout is $3,600. Sure, you could probably put that in a regular bank, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that maybe people did not trust banks at the time. So it was better to keep that money among family and friends. So although you're not gaining any interest, you also don't have access to the money where you're actually pulling it out just because you have it in a regular account. So I think mainly they maybe started because of trust, or maybe people couldn't get bank accounts at the time, but they have been very popular from friends of mine from different African countries do this. People I've heard from the Caribbean as well. And then obviously the Asian communities, although I have not heard about anyone in particular, but I do have friends from different African countries that do what Roxana is saying, the traditional trusted family susus.
So here's the other thing. When you talk about traditional family and friends practice susus, I would argue that's people who care about each other, loaning each other money, and you can call it whatever you like. But here's the difference, and I'll tell you why it works. Let's take, for example, our dear friend, Town Sheriff, BK from the Rockies, okay? If any of you know BK, or you can tell from that picture, he's not a small man. He and I are personal friends. If I give him something and I say this thing is of value, and it turns out I didn't just make a mistake, it was total bullshit, there's going to be consequences in our friendship, in our social circle. When I see him down at the bowling alley, if I see him down at the pizza shop, we are going to have a problem. Same will be true in reverse. But if there's some guy on the other end of the internet pretending to be my friend, which if you need friends, you don't go on the internet playing with money to do it. So now you've got this issue where, if I have a cousin that came to me and says, wow, I want you to be a part of this, can you drop $100 in just to see how it goes? Even if I didn't believe in it, I might drop 100, but this is my cousin. I'm going to see you at some point. I'm going to see you, and I'm going to hold you accountable for what you said to me. If this is somebody that I know from my Brazilian jiu-jitsu circle, somebody I train with, we strangle each other unconscious. There's no reason for us to try to screw each other over. The consequences are too dire. But when it's not somebody who's family, who's friends, that's when it becomes a Ponzi scheme.
And that's the problem with what's going on now. The people that are doing this, these are people that I have like almost 5,000 Facebook friends, and probably a small segment of that group I actually know personally or one-on-one. I've had at least 10 people that have probably never met me in real life, besides my family and friends that know me, saying, hey, and the angle that they like to use is something where they want to try to appeal to your senses, especially if you are generous, caring person. Oh, I see life is doing you very well. You seem like you're doing well in life. Okay, great. Can you get to the next part? And the next part is, hey, can you do this? This is such a blessing, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no. I'm just, this is foolish. I wasn't raised to do such such foolish things. I just don't understand why people are not realizing this is a scam. It's just wrong. And, yes, I've heard of people being paid out. Someone on my page posted that they were paid out twice, and there were high numbers. But the people that you're bringing in, like you mentioned, there's going to be some, consequences and repercussions, I think we say.
Right.
So
that's from Bernie Mac.
Yeah, so consequences and repercussions, because you're bringing in people, putting in $100, and then you're stacking the deck, and I think it's like 60 plus people need to pay out before the next person gets paid. That cycle cannot continue because someone's going to break it. Maybe the first 1,000 people paid, but what about the second group of 1,000 or whatever that this person pays, this one does not, someone's going to get their feelings hurt, you know, and all of a sudden
Somebody's gonna
these
get their
numbers
wallet
become yes, the next thing you know, people's phone numbers become disconnected. You can't contact anybody, and oh, you paid through Cash App, so Cash App is not going to give you anything back. So there's that. So, you know, like my friend said, what is the product or service? If you can't show me a product or you can't show me a service, it's illegal.
If you can't show me a product or a service, it's illegal. If you can't show me a product or a service, it's illegal. People don't understand that. Or even, let's not even talk about the legality or illegality. Oh, wait, we got an interesting comment. Hey, he said, is that your sister? Oh, well, I'm sure we're all related somehow.
We are, to my knowledge, we are not related.
No,
and
I don't think so.
We've never even met in person. It was supposed to happen last month, but
you were supposed to come down to Brazil and hang out, but it didn't work out. Now, I will tell you,
I had a ticket and all.
I did, just to give you guys a side note, I did discover some cousins that are on Facebook that I got introduced to through somebody else, and then they were like, why is this person on your friends list? And I said, oh, that's my cousin. She was like, that's my cousin too. It was hilarious. For everybody who doesn't know, there is the Black UGs, which is Black refugees. They're Black people from all over the world who are on a Facebook group. You can catch it here through the YouTube as well, who are on a group of people who just need to get out of the United States. And a lot of us ended up becoming friends. And turns out the admin for the group, the two owners, cousin.
Wow.
Had no idea, because her cousin and my cousin was like, well, wait a minute. How does that even? And there you go. I'll show everybody the, let's see, where is it? I think there it is. Yeah, the Black UGs, Black refugees. Everybody can click that and watch it. So it's a small world.
Definitely. That's a first.
Look at what. You know, as a devout atheist, I shouldn't even be laughing at that.
I have that shirt.
It's definitely a way to build wealth among trusted family and friends, never strangers. But here is my question. When we say build wealth, in my opinion, from the traditional investing that I've done to the cryptocurrency investing, build wealth means I put in this dollar, and over time, through the magic of compound interest or a product that someone is selling and giving me a return on, it grows. But if every time the circle goes around, I'm simply putting the money that you gave me back out again, how am I increasing my net overall income? So if you give me 10, but for the next 9 weeks, I have to give everyone 1, how have I grown my wealth? So I'm trying to figure that out.
I think it's
Tony, I want you to send me your email address right now. I want to get you up here. I want someone to give me an alternative point of view. I want someone up here who can tell me this has been their experience with it. If that's been the case for you, I don't want this to be a one-sided affair. So, Tony, if you want to come up and say hello, you've been around here long enough to know that this is not a place where we talk bad about people. I'm not here to trash anyone. If you can teach me something that I don't know about the way this system works, because you are someone who is a part of it, the door is open. You know, that's the thing. Same goes for dear sister Roxana. The door is open. If you'd like to come up, let me send you a link. I'm not here to bash anyone. If you can teach me something that I don't know and tell me that what my way of thinking and the evidence I presented is wrong, I am always open to that. That's how I learn. You know, boom, let me put this up here. Okay, so you're saying growing as in having savings, using this money to purchase real estate, invest in a business. So you're saying it's more like an interest-free short-term loan? Is that what I'm getting? It's an interest-free short-term loan? And for Tony Trouble or Tony Traub, there's my email address. I'll check my email and I will reply to you privately with a join link so that you can come up here and chat with us. So if you're saying I'm looking at it as an interest-free short-term loan, let me think. I don't. Checking. No. Yeah. So. Okay, it's not a loan, and this is where I keep getting confused.
But it's your money.
Huh?
It's your money. It's whatever you put in, you're just getting it back just later down the line. It's almost like, this is probably the wrong term, but it's almost like financial discipline, if you will. You could use a savings account, yes, or you could put it in some type of other account to garner interest or whatever. But it's more of it's just putting in what you have, but it's just later, just, I don't know, just financial responsibility almost, in a sense where you have extra money after whatever you do for your savings or what have you. You're just basically putting it away. What you do with it at the end of your term to pick up on your Susu, it could be anything. Maybe you're going to make a big down payment on your house, or maybe you're going to start a new business or buy new business supplies or pay off your car or whatever the case may be. It means so much there. So like Roxana is saying, it's not a loan because technically speaking, it's your money, but it's just financial responsibility, if you will. Whereas sometimes, you know, you may have an extra $100 around and you may spend it, but you're not spending it because, you know, every month you need to pay the Roxana Susu $100 or whatever it is. So that money is going to go to that every month. So it's just responsibility. Although you could put it in a bank, which I think you're probably wondering, why aren't people putting this in other areas where they could gain interest or something else? But Roxana just basically brought up what I was thinking earlier, where I mentioned earlier that people didn't trust banks back in the day, or they couldn't get savings accounts or different things. So it's just something that has been passed on from, you know, generation to generation. So there's that.
Again, I'm with you on its way to do things in a communal setting among people that you grew up with, people that you know. If we all came from, you know, let's just randomly say, let's say we all came from East Africa together. We came from the Ivory Coast together, to name a country. We came from the Ivory Coast together. Your grandmother and my grandmother went to school together. We grew up playing kickball together. So when we moved to the new country, be it America or Europe, I know that when I put some money in your pocket, it's not like you can run away with it, because I'm going to call my grandmama back at home and she's going to call your grandmother, and now your whole family's going to have a problem with you. That's how communities work. And I think I just had a grim enlightenment.
Uh-oh.
It doesn't work because Black Americans don't have communities like that.
Depends.
The word depends means we're still talking about a statistical minority of Black people that have that level of connection with each other.
Probably on a whole, I mean, smaller scale, yes. Grand scale, unfortunately, probably not.
Hey, Flem Dice, I hope you get to come back in from the beginning. We've been really opening some things up. I think that's what I keep missing here. The reality is they can do that in their Asian communities, African communities, Russian communities. They have a level of community together through their families that we simply don't as Black Americans.
On the whole, that's probably part of it.
She Learns Life just said something that, again, makes me have another realization. You just said we used it before desegregation. I'll tell you something that I see, and if anybody wants to give me an alternative opinion, I hope I'm wrong. I think before segregation ended, because remember, everybody including Dr. Martin Luther King, said that maybe desegregation wasn't good because in the past we had communities. Well, here's the problem. Now, in the past, my grandmother told me, who was born in 1910, by the way, who was retired when I was born. I was born in 77. She told me, and she lived to be 100, by the way. She told me that she felt bad that I never saw a Black community. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, you're in a neighborhood full of Black people, but you don't know a Black community. Because when she grew up, the doctor, the butcher, the dope man, the teacher, and the politician, they all lived within 4 or 5 blocks of each other. So nobody really got out of hand that much. The dope dealer and the politician, both of them kind of kept within certain parameters because there was consequences because you lived next to these people. Now, those of us who are educated and economically feasible, the first thing we do is leave. That's not a value judgment. That's just the way it is. Again, Roxana bringing some evidence. Her ex's brothers Susu their way into buying their multi-storied apartment building in the Ivory Coast. This enabled the family there to collect rent and not pester those in the USA. Yes, they had a group of people, a family. Black Americans also the same. Many communities practice collective economics. Yeah, and I think we've grown out of it, especially when, for example, those of you who know, I was in the life insurance business, and that's a phenomenal business, and all of you need to research your life insurance. Please talk to me about it. It's a way that families have built wealth from generations back, but we don't talk about that anymore. Here's what a lot of people don't know. There were tons of Black-owned, wealthy, well-financed life insurance organizations because Black people couldn't get life insurance through white companies. What the Black companies would then do is, because you had these Black agencies that were collecting life insurance policies from the whole neighborhood, so when somebody died, they could just pay it off, but they hadn't access to funds. They would pump those funds into the Black community and say, hey, you know what? You guys need a new playground for your kids. The other one is all dirty. Here's a new playground. What? Your old people don't have any place to go on Sunday? We're going to build a little community center for the old folks to go to on Sunday. But when they desegregated it and it no longer was illegal, I mean, it was made illegal to discriminate on race. You can't even ask race on a life insurance application. The thing that happened is all the Black people ran to the white companies. The white companies made all the money, but they never pumped it back into the Black neighborhoods. So the collectivist economics never happened. 43% of educated Black people were teachers in 1950. Can you push that statistic somewhere? Can you give me a link to check that out? I was told the same story by my mother about the old Black communities. Almost for yeah. My grandmother grew up at a time where if it was about sunset, if it was about 5:45, 6 in the afternoon, and the sun was going down and she was still walking home, a random Black person, man or woman, could pull over in a car and say, excuse me, young lady, where do you live? I'm taking you home. And she said she never worried about it. Because the concept of somebody Black in your neighborhood doing anything, and if it was a man, they would get out of the car and walk up to the building with her and say to her dad, hey, I just wanted you to know your daughter wasn't getting out of some strange man's house. I'm so-and-so's uncle so-and-so from down the road. You know, the one that sold those lemon cakes last Sunday? Yeah, that's my cousin. I can come in for some coffee? Why not? And that doesn't happen now.
Yeah, no one is letting you in these days. Very true.
Oh, wow, your mom had a beauty parlor, the number runner. I'll tell you something interesting. My mother was the youngest of all the children, and my grandmother was loosely involved in collecting numbers for the neighborhood. That's a whole different conversation. Now we're talking back in the 40s and 50s. Well, as it turns out, my mother always told me there was some Italian dude that had a serious crush on my grandmother. And because apparently a lot of people did, that's a different story. And he would always try to bring her wine on Sundays or Mondays when he came to pick up the number slips, and she would tell him no every single week. And no, you can meet me out on the sidewalk, and I'm gonna give you this bag, you give me my envelope. No, you're never coming inside. No, I'm never taking a present for you. But my mom didn't know anything about it until her older sisters and brothers were too lazy to get up an hour before school at 6 o'clock. And they got to be at school at 7, but my mother would get up at 5:30, between 5:30 and 6:30, walk around the neighborhood and collect number slips and take them back to mom before they went to school.
Wow.
Fish fries, church fundraisers, book drives, this was all yeah.
This was done also in my hometown, Memphis, same thing.
So, you know, we're We ran a little overtime. I got a little more. Thank you for helping balance this out with me. I wanted to make sure it wasn't just me off on a rant, because this is legitimately a threat to people's financial health and security.
It is.
You know, I mean, this is one of those things that I don't understand how. That's not true. I understand how we got here. I understand that people are hungry. I understand people don't know where their next meal could be coming from. I know that people are drowning and they need any kind of lifeline they can get.
Mm-hmm. But you know what happened to if it sounds too good to be true, does that not mean anything anymore?
Yeah,
but
you know,
I guess not
that's saying
if you're desperate.
Yeah, that saying is older than the hills. I remember reading an article by two men that were professional con artists, and they had some kind of a change of faith, and they wanted to join some traditional African religion. And the head man in their area said, listen, we can accept you, but you can't just come in here dirty like you were. You got to do something to atone for the crimes you committed. And they wrote an article that was translated into English. I have to find it again. And they sketched out everything it takes for somebody to con you. The number one thing they said, if you are a person that believes that you can get something for nothing, we can take every penny you have. You ever heard that phrase, it's hard to cheat an honest man? That's true, because the honest man is going to say, I would just rather work for what I have. That's okay. I just put in some overtime or maybe open up my own little popsicle stand. But an honest man, he's not going to be that flipping with his money. You know, I've helped some people hold on, let me show you guys this too. I've helped some people kind of get themselves off the ground with a few things during this pandemic pronunciation, something that has popped up that I didn't expect to become as popular as it has been and as helpful as it has been. I've been doing a lot on Patreon. Patreon is where I say things that are a lot less fun, where I put a lot of business insights, a lot of things that I've done to make money, helping other people make money, showing people a lot of business professionals. On some levels, people need me to walk them through it and kind of mentor them through a few different processes. I won't go through reading section by section what I do here. What I will ask is that everybody take a look at it, click the link. If I can help you, I'm here for you. You know, you're late to the party, John Wayne, but good morning.
Good evening.
Real brother, I'm glad again and we're gonna let Roxana have the last word. When a customer had a relative that died, my mom would do their hair for free. She knew money was needed for the death. It's community economics. Yeah. And when here's the thing, when their whole family was coming to you to get their hair done when they were alive, okay, if you take an afternoon to do that, there's nothing. There's nothing. You're not losing anything. You're not even donating time. You're just showing good customer service. People who are going through arguably the worst part of their family's existence. You know, I have a friend named Liz, and I don't know if anybody remembers when Liz came up. Liz is, oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That makes me feel good to hear you say that. I'm glad to be here for you. I don't know if any of you remember Liz when my friend, she'll be back. She's in Toronto, Canada. Liz does exactly that. Liz is one of the makeup artists who people don't just call for movie stars and Hollywood stuff. She does a lot with movies and things, but Liz also is the person they call when someone dies and they need a woman to make sure that she goes home, wherever home happens to be. Well, Liz paints the dead with dignity and the living with style. I hope everybody gets a chance to check that out. Liz is awesome. I'm gonna have to give her a call and see how she's doing. On that note, thank you. Kenna, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know how busy you are.
Thanks for the call.
I think we helped some people today.
I hope so, especially learning the difference between a real Susu and these pyramid Ponzi style schemes that we're seeing nowadays.
Yep. Everybody, please be safe. Way to bring the party down at the end. Everybody be safe. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you. And wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your fingers